My beloved child, before you continue listening, I need you to understand something important. The message you are hearing today is not reaching you by accident. There are moments when truth remains buried beneath years of silence, fear, and regret. There are secrets so heavy that they keep souls awake in the darkest hours of the night, and there is someone connected to your destiny who has been carrying such a burden for far longer than you realize. My precious one, I know there have been nights when loneliness sat beside you like an uninvited guest. I know you have questioned why love seemed delayed, why answers never came when you needed them most, and why your heart felt exhausted from waiting. But what appeared to be silence was never abandonment. What appeared to be delay was never rejection. I have been working in places your eyes could not see, moving pieces together behind closed doors, and now a hidden chapter is beginning to open. My child, the person you know as your soulmate has been standing at the edge of a confession. For a very long time they have carried guilt that has shaped their decisions, influenced their fears, and built walls around their heart. There is something they believe disqualifies them from being fully loved, something they fear would change how others see them if it were revealed. The weight of this secret has followed them like a shadow through every season of their life. Even during moments of happiness, it remained. Even during moments of hope, it whispered. This message was meant for you because I want you to understand what has been happening beneath the surface. Many times you wondered why progress seemed slow, why connections formed and then retreated, and why emotions felt intense one day and distant the next. The answer is deeper than you imagined. A gardener does not become angry when a seed disappears beneath the soil because the gardener knows that the hidden season is often the most important season. Beneath the darkness, roots are forming. Beneath the stillness, life is awakening. Listen closely, my child. In the same way, I have been working within this person's heart. The transformation has not been visible, yet it has been happening. Little by little, the walls have begun to crack. Little by little, truth has begun to rise. Little by little, the burden they once believed they could carry forever has become too heavy to hide. Rivers do not carve canyons in a single day, they transform landscapes through persistence, and that is exactly what has been occurring within this soul. They have been facing memories they once avoided, confronting choices they tried to bury, and standing before consequences that still echo through their spirit. Now they stand at a crossroads. One path leads deeper into fear, while the other leads toward truth. I tell you this because a season of revelation is approaching. What has remained hidden cannot remain hidden forever, and what has been locked away is beginning to seek the light. Remain patient, remain steady, and remain close to me, for I am not only preparing a confession. I am preparing a healing. And what happens next may reveal far more than either of you expected. My dear child, as this hidden story continues to unfold, there is something you must understand about the burden your soulmate has been carrying. For a long time, they believed that if anyone ever discovered the truth, they would lose every chance of receiving understanding, forgiveness, or love. The secret became a prison they built around themselves. Every time they felt happiness approaching, fear convinced them they did not deserve it. Every time they felt a connection growing stronger, guilt reminded them of the past they were trying to escape. You may have wondered why they sometimes seemed close and then suddenly distant. It was not because they did not care. It was because they were fighting a battle within themselves that few people could see. While you were searching for answers, they were searching for courage. While you were asking why things felt delayed, they were struggling to face the truth that followed them wherever they went. Listen carefully, my precious one. I have watched every tear they never allowed others to see. I have heard every silent conversation that took place in the darkness when no one else was around. There were nights when regret felt heavier than hope. There were moments when memories returned unexpectedly, reopening wounds they thought had healed. Yet even in those moments, I never abandoned them. Just as winter cannot prevent the arrival of spring, their mistakes could not stop my work within their soul. Deep beneath the frozen surface, transformation was taking place. The roots of honesty were growing where fear once ruled. The seeds of accountability were beginning to push through the soil. What once felt impossible slowly became necessary. The truth they spent years avoiding has started calling their name louder than ever before. They can no longer silence it. They can no longer outrun it. The closer they move toward their future, the stronger the need becomes to finally reveal what has been hidden. My child, this is why the coming season is so important. Before two lives can move forward together, certain shadows must be brought into the light. A house cannot stand securely when cracks remain hidden beneath its foundation. In the same way, a heart cannot experience complete peace while carrying secrets that demand to be acknowledged. I know this revelation may stir many emotions within you. You may feel confusion. You may feel shock. You may even question why such things were allowed to happen. But do not rush ahead of the moment. Do not allow fear to write a story that has not yet been fully revealed. Remember that I see the entire path while you see only a portion of it. I know every detail, every motive, every consequence, and every opportunity for redemption. The confession that approaches is not arriving to destroy what is meant for you. It is arriving because healing can no longer be delayed. Truth is preparing to step forward, and when it does, you will begin to understand why I have been guiding both of you through this difficult but necessary season. The chapter ahead holds answers that neither of you expected, and I am already preparing your heart for what comes next. My beloved child, there is another reason I have brought you to this moment. The confession that is approaching is not only about the past. It is about the condition of a heart that has finally grown tired of hiding. For years, your soulmate believed they could carry this burden alone. They convinced themselves that silence was safer than honesty. They told themselves that if they buried the truth deeply enough, life would eventually move on. But secrets are like stones dropped into a lake. Even when they disappear beneath the surface, the ripples continue to spread. The consequences of what happened did not simply vanish. They remained in unexpected fears, unexplained sadness, and moments of emotional distance that neither of you fully understood. What was hidden continued shaping their life from the shadows, and now the weight of it has become impossible to ignore. Listen closely, my child. Have you ever watched a storm gather on the horizon? At first, the clouds appear small and distant. Then little by little, they expand until the entire sky is transformed. This is what has happened inside your soulmate's spirit. What began as a quiet feeling of regret has grown into something they can no longer suppress. Every reminder, every memory, every moment of reflection has pushed them closer to a decision they once feared making. They have started realizing that freedom cannot be found through avoidance. Peace cannot be built on denial. Healing cannot flourish where truth is absent. Just as a tree must release dead branches before new growth can thrive, they are beginning to understand that this hidden chapter must finally be brought into the open. The process has not been easy. There have been tears you never saw, prayers you never heard, and battles you never knew existed. My precious one, I know you may be wondering why I am allowing all of this to happen now. The answer is simple. Timing matters. A seed planted too early struggles to survive, and fruit picked before it is ready cannot fulfill its purpose. There were lessons that needed to be learned. There was growth that needed to take place. There was courage that needed to develop within this soul before they could face what comes next. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every delay, every unanswered question, and every season of uncertainty served a purpose that is becoming clearer with each passing day. I have been preparing both hearts for a moment of truth. And as that moment approaches, remember this, the revelation itself is not the final destination. It is only the doorway. Beyond that doorway lies understanding, transformation, and a future that cannot be built upon deception. Stay patient. Stay grounded. Stay close to me. For the truth that is coming is only the beginning of a much greater story, and the next chapter will reveal why this confession has the power to change everything. My dear child, there is something your heart needs to hear before the next piece of this story unfolds. Many people believe that the hardest part of a confession is speaking the words. But often, the hardest part comes long before that moment. It is the season when a person must sit alone with their conscience. It is the season when excuses lose their power, when distractions stop working, and when the truth begins echoing through every quiet corner of the soul. Your soulmate has been walking through such a season. The more they tried to move forward, the more they felt the pull of what remained unresolved behind them. The past became like a closed door that rattled every time the wind blew. No matter how far they traveled, they could still hear it calling for their attention. Listen carefully, my child. I have seen the changes taking place within them. There was a time when fear controlled nearly every decision they made. Fear told them to stay silent. Fear told them to hide. Fear told them that if the truth ever came out, everything would fall apart. But fear has begun losing its grip. Slowly, another voice has become stronger. It is the voice of conviction. It is the voice that reminds a person that honesty may be painful for a moment, but deception creates pain for a lifetime. Imagine a traveler carrying a heavy backpack across a mountain trail. At first, they believe they can handle the weight. But as the journey continues, every step becomes harder. Eventually they realize that reaching the summit will be impossible unless they set the burden down. That realization is beginning to awaken within your soulmate. They are growing tired of carrying what was never meant to be carried forever. My precious one, do not mistake this process for weakness. What is happening requires tremendous courage. Anyone can run from the truth. Anyone can hide behind excuses. But it takes strength to stand before the light and allow it to reveal everything. That strength is being formed within them right now. Like gold refined in a furnace, their heart is passing through a season that removes what is false and exposes what is real. There are moments when they feel afraid. There are moments when they wonder what the future will look like once the secret is revealed. Yet despite those fears, they continue moving closer to the moment of honesty. And that is why I tell you not to lose hope. The story is not moving backward. It is moving forward. What appears messy today may become the foundation for healing tomorrow. Trust my timing, even when you do not yet understand the details. For I am leading both of you toward a moment that will uncover not only what has been hidden, but also why this journey was necessary from the very beginning. The next chapter will reveal a truth that reaches deeper than either of you expected, and when it is revealed, many things that once seemed confusing will finally begin to make sense. My beloved child, as the pieces continue coming together, I want you to understand something that many people overlook. Behind every confession is a story. Behind every mistake is a chain of choices, wounds, fears, and moments that shaped a person's path. This does not excuse wrongdoing, nor does it erase responsibility. But it reveals something important: people are often carrying battles that others never see. Your soulmate has spent a long time examining the road that brought them to this point. They have looked back at moments they wish they could change. They have replayed conversations, decisions, and circumstances countless times. If regret alone could rewrite history, they would have done so long ago. But the past remains where it is, and now they are learning that true healing does not come from wishing yesterday had been different. It comes from facing yesterday with honesty and choosing a different path today. Listen closely, my child. There have been times when you felt that life was teaching you patience beyond what you thought you could endure. You wondered why answers seemed delayed. You questioned why certain relationships felt wrapped in mystery. Yet even during those uncertain seasons, I was preparing your heart. A river does not become strong because its journey is easy. It becomes strong because it keeps flowing through rocks, valleys, and obstacles that attempt to stop it. In the same way, your spirit has been growing through experiences you did not fully understand. While your soulmate was learning the cost of silence, you were learning the value of faith. While they were wrestling with guilt, you were being taught endurance. Though your paths appeared separate, I was working within both journeys at the same time, guiding each step toward a purpose that is only now beginning to emerge. My precious one, the moment of truth is drawing nearer than you realize. The walls that once seemed unbreakable are weakening. The fears that once controlled every decision are losing their authority. There is a growing awareness within your soulmate that continuing to hide would be more painful than finally speaking. This realization has not arrived overnight. It has been building slowly, like dawn approaching after a long and difficult night. At first, only a faint light appears on the horizon. Then the darkness begins to retreat. Then suddenly the landscape becomes visible. That is the season they are entering now. The light is exposing things that were once hidden, and the closer they move toward that light, the harder it becomes to remain silent. Do not allow anxiety to consume your thoughts as this unfolds. Remember that I am present in every detail. I know the truths that have yet to be spoken. I know the emotions that will surface when they are revealed. Most importantly, I know the purpose behind it all. What is coming is not merely a confession of the past. It is the beginning of a transformation that has been years in the making. And as the next chapter opens, you will start to see why some truths must be revealed before a new future can truly begin. My dear child, there is a reason I have been asking you to remain patient throughout this journey. Human eyes often focus on the event itself, but I see the transformation that leads to the event. Many people wait for a confession, a conversation, or a revelation, believing that moment alone will change everything. Yet the true miracle often happens beforehand, in the hidden work taking place within the heart. Your soulmate has been experiencing such a transformation. The person they are becoming is not the same person they were when this burden first entered their life. Pain has taught them lessons they never expected to learn. Regret has humbled them in ways success never could. The very weight they once viewed as a curse has become a teacher, showing them the value of truth, accountability, and sincerity. What they once resisted, they are now beginning to embrace. Listen carefully, my precious one. Have you ever seen a forest after a wildfire? At first, the landscape appears ruined. Everything seems damaged beyond repair. But beneath the surface, something remarkable begins to happen. The soil becomes richer. New growth appears. Life returns where destruction once stood. In the same way, I have been bringing growth out of places that once seemed broken. There were seasons when your soulmate believed their mistakes would define them forever. They feared that their future would always be chained to their past. But I have been showing them a different truth. A person's worst moment does not have to become their final chapter. What matters is what they choose when confronted with the opportunity to change. And now they are standing before that opportunity. They are beginning to understand that honesty may feel frightening, but it is also the doorway to freedom. The chains that have bound their heart for so long are starting to loosen because they are finally willing to face what they once avoided. My beloved child, as this season unfolds, I ask you to keep your heart anchored in wisdom rather than fear. Do not build conclusions before the full story is revealed. Do not allow assumptions to fill spaces where truth has not yet spoken. Remember that I am guiding this process with purpose. Every lesson, every delay, every unexpected turn has been part of a larger design. The confession that approaches is not arriving randomly. It is arriving at the moment when both hearts are more prepared to handle it than ever before. There are still details you do not know. There are still pieces hidden from view. But soon, the picture will become clearer. The burden your soulmate has carried for so long is nearing the point where it can no longer remain concealed. The truth is pressing against the walls that once contained it. And when those walls finally fall, a new chapter will begin. It may not unfold exactly as you expect, but it will reveal why I have been working quietly behind the scenes all this time. Trust me, my child. The story is moving toward revelation, and what comes next will uncover a deeper layer of this journey than you have yet imagined.